All right, what is up, everyone? It is that time again. Happy Friday. Welcome to Kiss Meets Podcast 4K, the crazy Kiss Countdown. I am one of your hosts, Eli Clausen.
And I am Luke Neely.
And Savannah's not with us this week. Unfortunately, not feeling too well. Baby issues, but she's here with us in spirit once again. We have a very special guest this week. First time. This is Chris Lyons from another fellow Kiss podcast called KISSandTALE. Welcome, Chris.
Welcome. I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Chris just he popped in on the show last week, started chatting with us, and so I immediately went over, checked out the page. I like what you guys are doing. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like you guys are, you've just been at it for maybe about a month or so now, fairly new.
Yes, sir. About a month and a half, yeah.
Yeah, and I love the topics already, and, we just, collaborating right off the bat. That's what it's all about. So, supporting each other. We're all the KISS Army. Let's see. So first of all, obviously this week we are here to do the Hotter Than Hell album, and we got some really interesting results from the polls, and even more interesting matchups for this week's poll that were just posted. It just does not get any easier.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't.
So have we had any additional comments since last week?
Yes, we have, actually. We got Robbie Stars and also Thomas, which many of our regular viewers will know as Rain in Adamstown. On the last episode, actually, the debut album. So Robbie Stars, he says, when I first heard Let Me Know, I thought it sounded like a Beatles song with Gene and Paul sharing vocals and a Chuck Berry guitar solo. Brilliant.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yes, Robbie also gave us his ratings. His top three were Strutter, Let Me Know, and Black Diamond. He also notes 10 out of 10, perfect debut album. So we got those votes calculated in. As well as Thomas's votes. Thomas's top three, Strutter, Deuce, and Black Diamond. He notes, still a 10 out of 10, perfect album. Never skip 1 second when I listen to it. Please compare the new rankings with the rankings from last time. Could be interesting, and definitely it was. Thomas also says his true confession is he doesn't want this album to sound like Alive. He loves the production.
Wow, okay. I can dig that.
Yeah. I wish some of them were, faster, like the Alive version, but no, yeah. I 100% agree. The production on the album is better.
Totally.
So we got a couple of comments on the comments there. Thomas has also said Black Diamond to him is the second best last song. The first one is War Machine.
Ooh, good point, man. That is a good one.
Yes. Robbie Stars also commented on Thomas's comment. He says, I've always loved the production of the debut album. The drums are up front, and Richie Wise and Kenny Kerner got a great guitar sound for Ace and Paul. The bass is excellent also, and the vocals are dead on. Masterpiece.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with the sound of it. I do wish Eddie Kramer would have been a part of it just to see just how much of a different flavor he would have added to it. But yeah, I mean, that's why I still think it holds up well to this day based on the overall sound.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got those ratings put into the stuff from last time, and it actually didn't change our top four, which is cool. So we still got Black Diamond in first, Deuce in second, 100,000 Years in third, and Strutter in fourth. It did, however, raise our overall average by 1 point, making it 8.8 average overall out of 10.
Nice.
Yes. So some polls then, eh? Talk about some polls.
Uh-oh. Bulls.
It's starting again already. Yes. Okay, so our polls from last week have now closed. The 6 we posted last week. Let's talk about those first real quick. Our first poll New York Groove versus Calling Dr. Love, which was right off the bat difficult for most people. Calling Dr. Love wins that one with 73%.
Mm.
I did not expect it to be that much of a overage. I thought it would be kind of close.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I thought it for sure it was going to be almost, damn near split down the middle.
Right. However, speaking of split down the middle, Strutter versus God of Thunder, one of our closest matches yet to date, with Strutter winning with 51%, just barely.
Wow.
And that was a kick. I mean, Strutter versus God of Thunder, come on. We also had She versus While the City Sleeps, so that you could recover from that kick in the face with an obvious one. At least obvious for most people. She did win that one with 88%, so not a clean sweep.
She did win that.
Yes. Perhaps our funniest poll so far, Love's a Slap in the Face versus Love's a Deadly Weapon.
Jeez.
I don't know how that ended up that way. Love's a Deadly Weapon wins with 70%, deciding once and for all what love is exactly, which Gene's Porno asked.
I want you to show me.
Well, Gene has your answer. It's a deadly weapon, I guess. We also had Exciter versus I'll Fight Hell to Hold You. Exciter wins that one with 78%. I am excited to see how far Exciter goes, because in round one, Exciter beat Lick It Up. So, I mean...
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. Our final poll from last week was Tonight You Belong to Me versus God Gave Rock and Roll to You 2. This was another close-ish one, not as close as I thought it was going to be. Tonight You Belong to Me wins with 59%. Yes, so that means next round, Exciter will go up against Tonight You Belong to Me. So how strong is Exciter exactly?
I would have bet money at the beginning of this thing that Lick It Up would be the one heading into the third round, not Love's a Slap in the Face or whatever one. I mean, wow.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Now, Lick It Up did make it back into round two. It was the winner of our sympathy vote to bring the song back. Yeah. So at least it's still got a chance. But I honestly did not expect Exciter to beat it in the first round. That was crazy.
Watch it somehow go up against Exciter again and then lose once again to it.
That would figure. So the this week's polls, the 6 we posted just earlier today, you can jump over to our Facebook page and vote on these right now. Please do. We want to get as much input as we can on these. Some doozies here and some big ones already jumping in here. So our first one is Charisma versus Snowblind. We've also got Shout It Out Loud versus Turn On the Night. We've got Crazy Crazy Nights versus Watching You. I actually posted that one earlier while listening to Watching You for this album. Tomorrow versus Deuce. Somehow Kissin' Time made it into the second round. So we've got Kissin' Time versus I Love It Loud. So I think we can safely say Kissin' Time will not be moving into the third round.
Yeah. I think I said before I could see Deuce going pretty far, if not winning the whole thing. So I'm kind of afraid to see what the final tally is on that one there.
Yes, I'm curious there. I did go back to the first round and look. Kissin' Time won up against one of the Peter Criss solo songs, so maybe not quite so surprising, but I didn't remember that, so it was surprising to see it there. And then our last poll for this week is Rock and Roll All Night versus I'm Alive.
Wow.
So that'll be interesting. Now, just remember, everyone, when you go and vote for I Love It Loud and Rock and Roll All Night, that if those two songs win, that means in round 3 it'll be those two against each other. So if you want to do that to yourself, by all means.
That's the name of the game.
Yes.
That's
Excited
it.
to see how that. Yep, that's all for the polls.
All right. Well, Chris, something I always like to do when we have someone that's especially new to our show, but let alone you also have a podcast, please, give us a little backstory. When and how did you get into KISS, and also kind of what inspired you to get into the podcast, and tell us about your podcast.
Okay. Well, my dad had a bus company in Nashville in the 70s and 80s. And so he would lease his bus out to rock groups, country groups, all kinds of things. So from a very young age, I was exposed to music. Charlie Daniels was his best man when he got married the second time.
Oh, wow.
So I grew up around a lot of country musicians, but some rock stars too. He was a big Elvis fan, so I heard a lot of Elvis from my dad, and my mom was a big Beatles fan. So I grew up just listening to Elvis and the Beatles mainly.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day I was walking through Kmart and I saw this record, and I was like, "What in the world is this?" And it was a Rock and Roll Over album cover.
Nice.
And that was my first album I got. I took it home, and I put the needle down, and I was hooked ever since, man.
Oh, man. That's a great one to start with, man. That's one of my favorite albums. At least it wasn't double platinum or something. It was an actual album.
And the very iconic artwork. I really love the artwork on that.
Yeah. Did you used to take the album cover and like spin it on your finger?
I'm sure I did.
Yeah. I still catch myself doing that sometimes. Like, what am I doing?
And about 2 months ago, I decided to start a podcast because I'm always listening to different podcasts. And I have made a lot of friends throughout my life because of the band KISS. I mean, it's amazing how many friendships I've made just because we share that common interest.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm going to start a podcast, and, I'm going to talk about KISS, and I'm going to talk about other artists too, but mainly focus on KISS. And I'm going to bring, my friends on, and we're just going to sit around and have a good time and, shoot the breeze.
Yeah. That's the best way to do it, man. And,
It is.
The KISS Army, it's amazing. I mean, especially up this way, because for those watching, Chris is down in Texas. But up here in over in Indianapolis, they have that yearly expo, which, well, of course, it didn't happen this year because of everything. But that in itself has always been amazing. Like how many people you end up kind of becoming to know that you meet there, or you see them there on a yearly basis, and it's like you recognize the faces, even though you may not quite talk to them, but it's like, I do recognize that person. And it's kind of that family atmosphere, and to me, that's what the KISS Army is all about, is that family kind of atmosphere, and just talking KISS, man. It's fun to do. I don't get into all that. Some of the people in the KISS Army, it's like they want to try to bicker with other members, or they kind of get that elitist attitude. But that I've never been about that myself, and it's just all about sharing that love. And that's one thing we love doing with this podcast, is hearing people's different stories, and how you got into them, what different experiences, things like that. So very cool, man. By the way, I will, here on the screen there, you see KISSandTALE. Go check out their page right now. Make sure you subscribe to them. Show them the support and love too. They got some great episodes already. I'm sure they got more to come. Maybe in the near future you may see our ugly faces on their show as well. So
that's what I'm hoping for.
Yes, absolutely.
So definitely go check it out. KISSandTALE, TALE, as you can see on the screen.
Thank you for that plug.
Hey, absolutely. Thank you for being on here, man. All right. So let's get on into the album.
Alrighty, so we got our album info, and also we'll go ahead and do all the other votes that we've got in today from people who are not on the episode at the moment.
All right.
As I'm sure most of you know, Hotter Than Hell is the second studio album by American hard rock band Kiss. If you didn't know that, well, this is a Kiss podcast. Yes, this album was released on October 22nd, 1974, only a couple of years before I was born. That's what we're going with. This was recorded at the Village Recorder Studios in Los Angeles, as opposed to New York, where the first album and everything prior had been recorded. This album was produced by Kenny Kerner and Richie Wise, the same guys who produced the last album. We've got the core four members here as personnel. We've got Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, Ace Fraley, and Peter Criss. Of course, it also lists Warren Dewey as being the engineer. I do not believe he must have worked for the studio. I don't think he was listed on the first album. This album managed to get to number 100 on the U.S. Billboard chart. To this day, still only certified gold. Let Me Go Rock and Roll was released as a single, however, it failed to chart. Now, a lot of you probably also know that this album, the Kiss was actually pulled to hurry up and record this album so that it could be released just about 6 months after the first album. The first album was selling so terribly that the record label thought, well, if we get a new one out, then the record stores will have to keep the old one so that they've got both albums. So this was kind of a rush job, and as well as their third album was kind of the same thing. They were actually pulled off the tour for Hotter Than Hell to go record the third album, basically for the same reason. Interestingly, the band had to go to L.A. instead of New York because both Kenny Kerner and Richie Wise had moved there. There's an interesting quote on Wikipedia. You guys can check out the full quote there, but I guess in an interview in 2013... Richie Wise actually apologized for the album sounding so bad. He said, "I'd never made a move like that in my life. It was a big move. It was just a big time for me, and Hotter Than Hell took a back seat, and I apologize for that."
Oh, man.
Wow.
Well, you know, at the time, I mean, Kiss wasn't what you know we know him as today, so maybe he didn't quite treat it with as much respect at the time, unfortunately, and that sucks to hear, you know.
Right. What can you do? What can you do?
Yeah.
But yes, also, I'm sure we're all familiar with the album cover, of course. This is the first appearance of Kiss using the Chikara symbol, which they used throughout the 80s, especially Eric Carr used it several times.
Yeah, always been one of my favorite album covers. I do wish that photo was in color. I don't know why they went with black and white. Thankfully, these days there's color versions of the photo out there on the internet. But I always love those pictures on the back. I always used to sit and kind of stare at those, like, wow, like this is different. Like especially that outfit that Gene's wearing. Like he never wore that before or since. And it's like, wow, that's cool. And, of course, the ladies and stuff. And then, we've all heard the stories, of what went on during, the whole photo shoot and, Paul being drunk and pretty much had to be babysat and everything. But, interesting times.
Yes. Yes. Very funny. All right, so we have got some extra votes here to factor in as well. These are all going to be factored as we move forward. First of all, Savannah's votes. I'll just go ahead and give her top three. Her top three were in third place, Let Me Go Rock and Roll, then Going Blind, and Watching You is number one. We've also got Steve McGowan's votes. His top three, in third place, Strange Ways, then Parasite, and the title track, Hotter Than Hell, in first place. We got votes from Rochelle McGowan, Steve's sister-in-law. Her top three are, Going Blind in third place, Coming Home in first, and, Coming Home in second, and Mainline in first.
Wow. Very interesting. Very eclectic.
Yes. We've got my younger brother Sam's votes. His top 3, Going Blind in 3rd place, Watching You in 2nd place, and Parasite in 1st. And then finally, we've also got my dad's votes. His top 3, Parasite in 3rd place, Hotter Than Hell in 2nd place, and Coming Home in 1st place.
Wow. Interesting.
Yes. I also have true confessions from my dad in Savannah, but we'll save those for later.
All right. All right. So getting into the album here. First up is, of course, we all know, is Got to Choose. This one came in as number 6 for me this time. Another great album opener. You know, that opening guitar riff is so signature. You know, again, it's something that, you know, you probably didn't expect to hear, you know, when the first time you ever heard this album. And, you know, it's one of them cool ways to start it off. And then, of course, when the drums and bass come in with it too, and just that nice kind of heavy kind of drive to it. And, you know, great, you know, harmony vocals there with Gene and Paul. And, well, I guess Peter might be mixed in there too, kind of sounds like. But, yeah, just another great album opener. But I don't know. The studio version tends to, I don't know. I hate to say boring, but it just kind of doesn't do it as well for me as much anymore. And honestly, the live version too. It's I don't hate the song, but just right now, I don't know. It just doesn't ever quite catch me or get me in like a, you know, like a.
We lost your audio there, Eli.
Yeah, I thought that was just me for a second. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, right mid-sentence it went out. Still nothing.
I'm here.
This is also a staple of all podcast episodes is technical difficulties.
Right. Exactly right.
Well, while we're waiting on him, Chris, you want to go ahead and give your take on this song?
Okay. So Got to Choose. I actually have it as my number 10 song. The reason being is the beginning of the song, the chords, they don't sound good. It's like I thought maybe they were trying to go for a diminished chord progression or something. So I looked it up, but it wasn't. It just sounds very clunky, and it's just not very pleasing to the ears, the way those chords go together. However, I do really like the chorus. I think the chorus is a strong part of the song. It's a great, great chorus. It's just that beginning chord progression, for some reason, it's just not pleasing to my ears, and it kind of like makes me cringe just a little bit. So I got it number 10. Number 10.
Right on. This one came in at number 2 for me, actually. And as soon as the drums come in, there's that the famous muddiness, you know. And throughout listening to the album, I always tend to kind of pay attention to the production techniques. And before, I had always thought this whole album sounds kind of dull, production-wise. And this time, honestly, I think it really was only the drums. The drums sound really subpar. Just the way they were recorded. Again, it wasn't anything wrong with how Peter played them or anything. And I wonder what happened that they couldn't get a better tone, because even the first album, they sound fine. I mean, you know, that it's not the best production anyone's ever heard, but it's much better than this album. So I don't know what happened with that. But Yeah, I always like the harmonies throughout this song. That's one of my favorite parts of Kiss is the 3-part harmony, and also in places you don't expect often. So also I think this might be one of my favorite endings to a Kiss song. It's so creative, and they tend to just sort of fade out sometimes. So I really appreciate that they went out of their way to do something weird this time.
Now, I've heard, and I can't say for sure, but I heard that they recorded Peter's drums in the bathroom. That they put his drum set in the bathroom.
Right. I heard something like that. I was thinking maybe Rock and Roll Over I had heard that about even. Or no, Rock and Roll Over, I'm sorry, that was the one that was in an auditorium. So maybe that is Hotter Than Hell. I think you're right.
I can't remember, but I believe that's what I heard.
Yeah.
Did we get... No, we still don't have him back yet.
Nope. This happened to Savannah once before, and she had to kind of like exit out and come back. But I don't know what'll happen if Eli does that. It might start the podcast over.
I wonder what happened. That's weird.
Yeah, and right mid-sentence even.
So what do you think about the new Space Trucking song by Ace Frehley, man?
Oh yeah, yes. Oh, I was very happy with it, especially the video. Whoever animated that video was a freaking genius.
Right, you're exactly right.
All the cool little bits and pieces they added. I love that the little restaurant was called Dolls, and then the Space Bear says, "I love my dolls" at one point, and
a lot of cool little Easter eggs in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I lost it when he said curly. I wasn't expecting that.
I thought that song fit his style and his voice perfectly.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
The song that I always wanted to see Ace redo was oh, there he is.
You hear me?
It
Yes.
lives.
Good Lord, I don't know what the hell happened. It's like one of the my USB port died or something.
Oh,
Had to plug it into a different one.
weird.
Sorry about that.
Chris, were you in the middle of saying something there?
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, you're
Oh,
good.
you're good.
I was just saying the song that I would like Ace Frehley to redo is Joe Walsh, Life's Been Good.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought that would be really good, his style.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I had never thought of that before. That's a great point.
I love that song as it is, so I would definitely like to hear Ace cover it. Real quick, since I didn't hear you guys, what did you each rank got to choose?
10 for Chris and 2 for me.
Oh, okay. All right, ready to move on?
Yeah.
Okay. Next up is Parasite, number 4 here for me. Just another great heavy Kiss song, one of the heaviest in the catalog. I love this song, whether it's the album version, live version. They can even play it acoustically and it would still sound great. They could play it on kazoos and it would sound great.
I would love to hear that.
Yeah, just another good example of Peter's drumming. Kind of like what we talked about last week. The early stuff, Peter was on point with the drumming. This is another one of those songs that shows it, and again, the live version even more so because he adds a little more extra salt and pepper to it, and and then of course, with Gene's vocals and then the whole middle section that dun, 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 love that, especially live version when they kind of draw it out and Peter's just kind of riding on that crash ride, and love that whole section. So it's just another staple, and it's one of them songs that never gets old for me.
All right. My turn? Okay.
Yep.
All right. I got that at number 1 for me.
Nice.
I feel like it's the first heavy metal song in the Kiss catalog. And some people are always arguing about whether Kiss is rock, hard rock, metal. Well, I think they're kind of everything.
Yeah.
And I think they could play a little bit of everything. And for all the people out there that bash Peter Criss and say he's not a hard rock drummer or he's not a metal drummer, then listen to this song. It shows you he can do it. It's not something that he wants to do every song, but he can do it. And like was mentioned earlier, his feels and his roles in the song are second to none.
Absolutely.
Great job by Peter. And for me, this is the best solo Ace ever did. I love the solo so much. It's just right on point, and it's just metal all the way. It's metal for me.
Yeah, there's a reason that so many drummers, and even myself, who is a nobody, but a lot of big name drummers, have said that Peter Criss is the reason they play drums, and they've practiced playing along to his solo on Alive and Alive too. I mean, it's not just a soundbite. Like, these guys all mean it, and it's not just, it just goes to say something about what he did, and if it wasn't for Peter, and we might not have a lot of these well-known drummers that we have today. Who knows?
Definitely.
Very true. Yes, this one is number 1 for me as well. And I couldn't possibly agree more with you there, Chris. That's basically my notes as well, is that this is just, it's so heavy. It's one of those perfect early Kiss songs that's way heavier than most people give Kiss credit for ever having done.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I mean, that riff, you can't beat that riff. It is 100% a metal riff. That's all there is to it. And it always reminded me, I was in a band for a long time called Right Way to Nowhere. We did a lot of originals, but we also did a lot of covers. We started to do, 4-hour bar shows where we wanted to do a bunch of covers, and this was the main song I pushed all the time. I want to do Parasite. But it was a 4-person band, and 2 of those 4 people absolutely hated Kiss with a passion, so they wouldn't even give it a chance. I never got to do it.
Nah.
That's bad. I found that most people that claim they hate Kiss, if you ask them this question, why you hate them, 99% of the reasons the first thing they'll say is because of the makeup.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they kind of write them off as the music being, simple per se.
Yeah.
And
it's not.
Yeah, it's very far from that. Yeah, just because they're up there in makeup and costumes, on top of that, they're playing, some pretty intricate music.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the big cop-out answer that people give is, oh, the makeup and blah. But meanwhile, they'll listen to black metal bands who do nothing but wear makeup. So
Right.
It's like, so what's the difference there?
Exactly. Yeah.
Next up, Going Blind. This one came in at number 8 for me this time. A great Gene ballad. Love it. I've always preferred the lady, beneath the sea or whatever that he sang on Unplugged, and the demo version, which, by the way, the demo version is, to me, kind of creepy, the way it sounds, whatever that instrument is at the beginning of it. It's just got this weird kind of creepy, man, if he would have stuck with that, I don't know how well this song would be nowadays with me. But yeah, just another great one, and obviously it translated so well to the unplugged sessions. And again, I guess the first, arguably the second song about Gene talking about a younger lady already, 2 albums in, and more to come.
Yep.
Okay, for me, I have Going Blind at 3, and I found it lyrically almost like a Frank Zappa song, very wild and crazy, like kind of out there in the ether, like where the hell's he going with this? I do enjoy. It's like drop down tuning. That song sounds like, I'm not sure, but it's just to my ears. That's kind of what it sounds like. I know that when they toured with Rush, they would go in each other's hotel rooms and jam out. And Rush said that they would go into their room and bring their acoustics, and they would always sing Going Blind, but they changed the lyrics to Going Bald.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Number 6 for me on this one. This song is such a great example of how Kiss can write really weird songs that still work really well. I've always had a bit of a love-hate relationship with this song over the years. I remember when I first heard it, I didn't like it. It was just the weirdness of the chord structure was just a little too much at the time. But right now it really piques my interest, especially considering the number of people who don't like Kiss, who complain that their music was too generic. It's like, you got a song like this that's completely unorthodox almost in every way, and it still works just great.
Yeah, and my God, the notes that Gene is hitting on these vocals, my God, that now how it should be. It's like, good Lord, man. It's like ear splitting. So next up, of course, we have the title track, Hotter Than Hell. Number 3 for me. This has always been, another song that kind of holds a special place with me. Not to mention to me, like one of the most epic, I guess, breakdowns in history, let alone Kiss music. The whole and that gong, the way it rings out, and just the way it goes into it, and just so heavy. I've told this story 100 times, but I know, Chris, you probably haven't heard it, so I'll say it again. But when I was a little kid, probably 4 or 5 years old, I'd be sitting and listening to this album and singing along to Hotter Than Hell, and my parents heard it, didn't like it, so they took the record away from me for singing those words. And I finally got it back after it felt like forever, but who knows how long it was. And sure enough, I just made sure to sing it a little bit quieter next time. Even when I'd be playing, I'd just be trying to, so they couldn't hear me. But so that's always been another reason that this song's always had a special place in my heart all these years. And it's just always a fun story to tell. And, but yeah, just overall, fantastic song. I always heard the story that Paul said that this was basically him kind of rewriting All Right Now from Free, and you can sort of hear that with the riff here and there. But yeah, just another all-time classic that's never going to get old.
For me, I got Hotter Than Hell at 5. I like the song, like was just mentioned, the gong and the A solo really fits with well within that Japanese theme that the album kind of portrays when you look at the cover and stuff. So, when you look at that cover, you expect to hear a song that has like that gong in it. So I thought that was great. That really fit it. My only critique about the song is it gets a little too repetitive over the chorus over and over and over and over. But I think it's a really solid song, and I enjoy it.
Yep, I've got this one at number 8, actually. I should start by saying that I do really like the song, but I will admit, unlike Going Blind, this one has always felt a little generic to me. Good, but just like you just said, Chris, repetitive. So I've never really understood why it's considered to be one of their big hits. This one to me is not anywhere near as exciting as, say, Love Gun or Detroit Rock City. Also, like Deuce on the first album, I feel like this version is just a little bit too slow for me. I wish they had recorded it a little faster.
Good point.
Yeah, and another thing I always forget about, but it's like, again, I think another reason too is, once again, that whole Phantom tie-in, because you can't help but think of Rip and Destroy when you hear that. You know, especially that you know, you just think of that Rip and Destroy, Rip and Destroy.
Yes.
Kill the power, Phil. Kill the power. Let Me Go Rock and Roll. Number 5 for me. Man, this is such a short version. I get so used to hearing the live version anymore, especially playing it. And you know, you listen to this one, and it's like, as a matter of fact, I heard it in the car today, and then listened to it again a little bit ago. But I think it's like barely 2 minutes and 15 seconds long. I mean, it's really short. And for some reason, I don't recall if I ever said this back when we did the album the first time, because to me, I felt like it just came to me today when I was listening. But it's like, it kind of has a bit of a rockabilly feel to it, which is weird to say, but it really kind of does. And it's just, and again, I like this song because I put this in that category of those feel-good songs that I like with Kiss. You know, Nothing to Lose, and you know, Christine, stuff like that's coming down the road. But this is like the second, you know, of those songs that to me is like those really good, you know, just put you in a good mood when you hear it. It's, you know, a good, you know, kind of dance along. And not that I dance along, you don't want to see me dance, but but just a good upbeat song. But you know, I do have to give the edge a little bit to the live version, obviously, for that, you know, the extended, you know, solos and the little, you know, added bass and drum thing that came down the road and all that stuff. But yeah, just this was kind of the to me, this song was always kind of the precursor for Rock and Roll All Night. It's like, this could have been at that level, because I mean, you know, think about it, they were closing their shows with this song for the longest time, even once Rock and Roll All Night came around. But so I felt like it could have been what Rock and Roll All Night became, but just missed it.
Okay, for me, I got Let Me Go Rock and Roll at 7. It's very heavily influenced with the Chuck Berry riff, like you were mentioning earlier about the rockabilly, and obviously Chuck Berry was heavily influenced by rockabilly. So you could definitely tie that in. I really like the music. I'm a real big fan of the music of the song. I'm just not a fan of the lyrics. I'm like, I don't know. It loses me with the lyrics. The music I love. It's kind of like The Who meets Chuck Berry, you know, mixed together. I love the energy of the song, but I think they could have spent some more time and got way better lyrics. But that's just my opinion. Definitely
agreed. Yes, this one is number 9 for me, and this won't be a surprise to Eli. This song has just never caught me the way it seems to catch a lot of other people. The guys in Sweet Pain used to call it a barn burner, and that's the best description I can use. And it's interesting you say that, because I think I can clear that up. The main bass riff is that, you know, right? That's put a swing feel in that, and it's, which is 100%
there you
rockabilly.
Go.
Yeah.
The same riff, just put a little bit of swing in it. And so, yeah, it's just never been my favorite. You know, this song can get a little too A-B in the structure and chord choice. And as I said in the last episode, I've always considered this one and Let Me Know to be kind of sister songs. Yeah. And of the two, I've always just rather heard Let Me Know.
Yeah, I think they almost intentionally wrote it to be that simple, just trying to make it that radio hit. And
right.
I guess to an extent they succeeded, but it was more of a live more of a live success than it ever. As far as I know, no radio stations ever played the song, but
Right.
could be wrong. So opening up side 2, we have All the Way. Number 9 for me. Again, I do not dislike the song. It's, this is always, this whole album in general, I might as well say now, is always tough to rank because it's another album that I just really do like the whole entire thing, and it gets hard to rank them. But as far as the Gene songs on here, I just felt like this was, I guess, the weakest one. But at the same time, to even say weak to me doesn't make sense. But compared to the other Gene songs on here, I just felt like that this one doesn't match up. I'll put it that way. But it's fun. We got a little laugh the other day, just that little cowbell intro thing, and but I do like the verse line. I think it kind of flows well, and and then when it goes into the chorus, you kind of got that sort of kind of a clap along type of chorus again, but and not a bad solo from Ace in this one either. I feel like I haven't really mentioned Ace at all this album yet, but definitely wanted to point that out on this song.
Okay, for me, I got All the Way at number 6. I think it's a fun song. I like the cowbell. I mean, who doesn't love cowbell?
Yeah, there's never enough.
Right? Like you just mentioned, Ace's solo fits the song. It's a song within a song. He doesn't try to take away. He tries to stay within the framework of the song. Mm-hmm. He does a great job. I like Gene's vocals a lot. It's very Beatlesque. I could hear the song on a Beatles album. I really could.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
And so I really enjoy the song. I mean, it's not earth-shattering, but it's a solid tune.
Yes. I've got this one at number 5. And yeah, this one is really catching me recently. And I don't know if it's just because it's kind of a deep cut or what, but it's, man, I can't get enough of it. I really enjoyed playing it the other day when we got together and jammed. It's upbeat. It's got harmonies in cool places. And even the lyrical content is a bit out of ordinary for Gene. Usually it seems like he's trying to get the girl, not telling her one of these days I'm getting rid of you, essentially. I will admit, though, as I complain fairly often for any album we review, I really wish they had written an actual ending for it instead of just doing a fade out with the chorus repeat.
Yeah, I gotta say that's one of the parts of the song I dislike, is how it does keep repeating and eventually fades out. And you hear Peter do that little off time hit right as it's fading out, but I do agree with that.
Yeah.
So next up is Watching You. And this one, in my opinion, is the best Gene song on here, number 1 for me. One of my favorite Gene songs, period. And again, heavy. I mean, there's a lot of heavy on this album, and God, that opening riff, and then I like the trade-offs on the and then when it just goes into that, that verse groove, and what Gene's doing on the bass, and it just kind of drives along as he's just putting that demon stamp over the lyrics there, and so cool. And yeah, I always love the last chorus where they change it up, and watching us, and kind of scream it, and really emphasize that. So yeah, just love this song, and it's definitely in my top 5 Gene songs of all time. And I don't know if it's my favorite Gene song of all time. That would be something I'd really have to put some thought into, but it's definitely up there.
Okay, for me, I got Watching You at number 4. I enjoy the call and response between the two guitars, how they're playing off each other as well. That was really good. Gene's vocals are really good, the funky bass line. I really enjoyed the breakdown where Peter and Ace are just playing off one another.
Oh,
You know, oh, it's so good. It's so good. And, you know, I like everything about this song. And for me as a Kiss fan, it's always perplexed me why most of the Kiss fans I talk to, they hardly ever mention this song.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, it's such a great song. And I think it deserves a lot more love than it gets. It's a really, really solid track.
I mean, I'll say it right now. I like this song better than God of Thunder if I had to put it up against one another, especially as far as a Gene song.
Yep. Yes, this one's number 3 for me, and I put the same thing on there. This is another one that feels heavy beyond its time to me. This was heavy before the world really knew what heavy could get like, you know. But for me, what anytime I hear any version of this, be it Alive or the studio version, I always think of the Alive 3 version because I'm a weirdo. Not only do I love the Alive 3 version, but I can still remember listening to Alive 3 for the first time and this song coming on and it being for them to do it at that point. So it sticks with me.
Absolutely. Mainline up next, number 7 for me. Another Peter song that I feel like gets, you know, kind of swept under the rug undeservedly. I really think it's a great song. Again, cowbell, pretty much starting off the song almost. But you know, Peter's vocals pretty much make every song that he sings, like, you know, more so than the music, at least to me. And in this one, especially, like, you know, the notes, the way he's singing the verses on here with the, you know, the note and the harmony to it. You know, plus he's, you know, getting some fairly high notes in there on top of that, not to mention, but, you know, very impressive. And then again, another great, like, you know, harmonic type of solo from Ace on this. I think it's Ace. But always that solo always catches me on this one. And then I just love how it goes right back into that chorus right after the solo. And, you know, it's kind of, you know, as simple as it sounds, but yet it's catchy, like what Peter's doing on the drums on the chorus, where he's just kind of doing it, you know, riding on the snare, like, you know, it's kind of different, and you never really heard that before. And, you know, especially coming from Kiss, and it was just kind of a different, unique take to do that over the chorus. And that's just another thing that always kind of caught me on this song that I like.
For me, I got Mainline at number 9. It's a catchy, fun song. I mean, Peter, no matter what Peter sings, he can sing the phone book and it's going to sound good.
Yeah.
It's just
there you go.
And one thing that I just thought of while we were sitting there talking, nobody here has yet mentioned Paul Stanley on this album. And I was like, wow, there's not many Kiss albums you could go through and not mention Paul by the time you get this far into the album.
Yeah.
So, that's true. That's something that really I thought, so wow, that's interesting. But,
yeah.
I mean, it's a fun song. It is what it is. I like it. It's fun. Yeah.
You know, it is crazy because Paul has only sang 2 songs up to this point, and that's, I mean, I know this is
hotter than hell.
Yeah, and you know, yeah, this is the second album, but we all know the history afterwards, and to look at this and think that, it's like, wow, that is kind of odd.
Yeah, I'd never really thought of it that way. That is strange.
Well, that's coming up.
Yes, yeah. Mainline's actually my number 4, and I gotta tell you, I thought about making this my true confession, but I got a different one. I think Mainline might actually be my favorite Peter song in the entire Kiss discography. Or it's at least up there above several of the obvious ones like Beth or Hard Luck Woman.
Mm.
I'll admit the lyrics are kind of dumb, but the melody and the harmonies are cool. And this is another song that Peter's voice just fits absolutely perfectly. None of the other guys could have sang this one and it had the same effect. And honestly, I think just overall, this song would be relatively high on a potential list of underrated Kiss songs for me personally.
Absolutely. Next up is Coming Home, and I kind of didn't want to do it again, but unfortunately it came in at number 10 for me once again. I just can't get over the sound of it. There's something that for some reason to me, this song versus every other song on the album sounds more muddy, and it's just kind of hard to make out what any of the instruments are doing. And but to say a good thing, here's Paul. He's singing another one finally. Vocals, yeah, great vocal line. It's very, it's very catchy and sing along type of song. Obviously, I think we all know what version of the song I don't know if all three of us agree, but I'm pretty sure we can at least understand that the unplugged version is probably the one that we would all more gravitate to. Yeah, it's like I just so much did not want to rank it last again, but it's just it just really comes down to the production sound of this one, why it sounds so much muddier and different from the rest of the album to my ears. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
All right, I have Coming Home at number 8. You just basically took all my notes, but the sound quality is bad. I mean, the sound quality for me on the whole album's not good. It sounds like it was recorded in a cave.
The Bat Cave.
Yeah. And some people like it. They say that's what gives it that distinction from the other albums. I would have liked to seen Eddie Kramer, or I guess you could even say Ezrin, just be able to take this and produce it and give it the high ultimate quality of sound, because I just feel like if it had a better sound, this is probably the best album the originals ever did.
Oh man.
I mean, that's just kind of my opinion. That sound quality for me keeps it from being the number one album they've ever recorded together.
I would have to agree, especially as far as that original, just gritty, dirty Kiss sound, because not long after this it started changing, and yeah, those are great albums, but yeah, I agree as far as that original Kiss style, like yeah, this probably would have been the best of all of them.
Yeah. I've got a section in my overall notes that's basically saying that exactly. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, Coming Home also 10 for me. I felt the same way. It hurt my soul putting it at 10 because I love this song. I freaking love this song so much. However, it is a song that I would 100% write off if it were not for the MTV Unplugged version.
Yeah.
This version just does not capture the things I like about this song like the acoustic version does.
Mm-hmm.
Not only does it seem like the electric guitars throw off the feel a bit, but that subpar production style, it just makes the whole thing sound weird. The drums sound bad. The guitars have too much highs in them. Some of the harmonies have too much highs in them. It's just, And I'm so glad they decided to do this on MTV.
And I've never been a fan of the intro to it. To me, it doesn't sound like a uniformed intro. It sounds like it just kind of starts like halfway through what should be the intro riff or something. To me, it just always sounds like a big cluster, and it just kind of catches you off guard every time it comes on.
Yeah.
And again, a couple of the demos from the original demos of some of these songs that made it on here, like, man, if the album could have just sounded like those, so much better.
Yeah.
All right, so we come into the last track, Strange Ways, number 2. Another Peter track. So Peter getting 2 songs on the second album. That's another kind of rarity, especially this early. But again, we all know that this one was another one that was written by Ace. So unfortunately, Ace did not sing it, which I think it still would have sounded just as good had Ace sung it. But obviously, I do like what Peter did. He did it justice. And again, heavy comes up a lot in this album, but this is another one of those heavy Kiss songs. It's like, I feel like, 3 of the heaviest songs they've ever wrote are all on this song, or on this album, I mean. And, I feel like they didn't really write anything that came close to being considered heavy until like Creatures of the Night. So, I mean, that's a big gap. That's my opinion. But yeah, this song just a great way to end it, especially after coming home and just the grit and dirt and then it's got that nice proper ending to the song and to end the album on top of that. So nice little pleasure to the ears there to end the album on.
Okay, I also have Strange Ways at number 2, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say something here that might shock a lot of people. In my opinion, this is the first grunge song ever recorded in music history. I think Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, Nirvana, all those bands that should give the tip of the cap to Kiss, because 20 years before they came out, this is the sound they were looking for. And it's just an amazing song. I mean, I have, obviously I have a critique I'll talk about in a minute, or in our confessions, but the voice of Peter and the solo from Ace, one of his top 5 solos. To me, 2 of his best solos he's ever did came off this album. And he wrote some great songs on this album, and that to me is a grunge song.
I have never thought of that, but that makes a lot of sense, man. That's a great way to look at it.
Yes.
Because we know a lot of those guys were big Kiss fans, especially guys in Pearl Jam and whatnot. And so.
Yes. I've got this song at number 7. And yeah, I feel like I'm just rehashing the same thing, but I wrote next up on the list of hotter than hell songs that are way heavier than most people think Kiss ever was. This one and Almost Human, to me, are great examples of this almost like horror rock thing that Kiss tapped into just occasionally. It's actually a bit surprising that Gene didn't end up singing this one for that kind of feel of it. But having said that, Peter's voice does suit it super well, and Gene's voice coming through in those chorus harmonies, it gives it that little bit of creepy edge that and the kind of just sludgy, the grunge thing, exactly what you were talking about, gives it that sort of horror. You almost picture this big Frankenstein-y monster trying to get around as the song's moving.
Yeah, I mean, again, Gene with those high-pitched notes that cut through, especially on the last one, and
yeah,
man. Yeah, you're right though. When you mentioned Almost Human, that's probably the next one that I would consider heavy in the catalog. But then after that, probably not anything until Creatures. All right. So as far as overall ranking of the album, I give this one a 7. Obviously, we might as well say it all together. A big part of that is the sound. Obviously it's a shame of what's his name that didn't really treat this with the respect as it deserved. So it could have come out sounding a lot better. However, though, I mean, there is a part of me that likes the kind of gritty and nastiness to it. And I think that kind of gives a little bit of that heavy feel to a lot of these songs, like a little more than had sounded, too polished up, like say Dressed to Kill or any, some other stuff. I feel like it does help it in a way, but I do understand at the same time that I wish, like, say the drums, like some of the cymbals were a bit more clearer and crisper, and basically the way the first album sounded. I think we kind of hinted towards that earlier. That would have been kind of a nice contrast to get that. But again, like we were just saying, this album, three of the most heavy Kiss songs that are out there. This would be a great beginner album for someone that's, Kiss sucks. They write all this disco music or, whatever. It's like, put this album on and then tell me what you think. If you can't come away saying that you at least have, a liking for at least two songs, then, get out of here. But yeah, just a great follow-up album. And I think I might have said in the past too, like this could have been the first album. Like to me, this one always kind of sounds more like it should have been the first album versus, the debut. But that's just me. And so I give it a 7 this time around.
I will give it an 8. I think you made a good point about this could have been their first album. If you'd took Coming Home and replaced it with Deuce and Got to Choose, replaced it with like Black Diamond, oh my God, this album would be like maybe their closest thing they ever got to Back in Black.
Oh man, yeah,
it'd have been killer. I love the album. Like you said, the production was really bad, but for me, this is the greatest contribution Ace Frehley ever made to Kiss as far as songwriting and playing was on Hotter Than Hell. And I just wish the production was better. That's about all I can say about it.
I gotta say maybe Peter too, for that matter. As far as all the songs he got, his playing on a lot of these songs, or some of the signature Peter stuff on here.
Yeah, definitely.
They were still hungry at this point. Excess hadn't crept in.
Exactly.
Yeah. I give this album a 6. This is an album that to me sounds very inspired song-wise, despite them not really having much time to write or rehearse new material before having to record them. Whereas it felt like the first album didn't do too well, maybe because it lacked the energy of a live performance. This one probably didn't sell well just because it sounded kind of bad. The songs were fine, I don't know what Richie Wise and Kenny Kerner thought they were accomplishing. They were obviously capable of making good-sounding albums like the first album. Regular viewers of the show will know that I, not a huge Peter fan, not a huge Ace fan. I hate on the original lineup a little more than the average Kiss fan, but these first 3 Kiss albums are the ones that really showcase the talent and chemistry that the 4 of them had without an outside influence, without a producer pissing them off, without drugs messing with them, without people telling them, you don't need those guys. I don't think it would be entirely unfair to even say Hotter Than Hell especially showcases this, since it put them under the pressure to produce good content without the time to really refine it. And they had essentially the failure of their first album weighing on them on top of that. Grace Under Pressure, like Rush. Before Peter and Ace let alcohol, drug use, other people, and their own insecurities ruin their ability to contribute worthwhile stuff, they really were the perfect fit for a sound like no other band has or will ever have. It's just too bad they couldn't retain that, just like Chris just said, the only thing that stops this album from getting a higher rating from me is the muddy production, especially the drums. I think the tone of the drums kind of ruins this album for me sonically.
Mm-hmm. Spot on. All right, everybody, it is time once again for the new segment, True Confession.
True confessions. True
All right. True Confessions, the Hotter Than Hell edition. Luke, would you like to start us off this time?
Sure. In fact, I can start off with a couple of confessions from people that aren't on currently.
There you
go. I do have Savannah's true confession here, and hers is she used to hate the song Going Blind. She hated the way Gene sang it and the slower vibe, but it has become one of her favorites in the past years. In fact, this time it was her number 3. Or no, I'm sorry, her number 2 for the entire album. We also have, let me jump over to this other screen. My dad. My dad's true confession. He says this is one of his all-time least favorite album covers, front and back. He says he's glad that they didn't use the same production quality on any of the other albums, but it is interesting that you can listen to one of these songs and immediately tell which album it's from just by the way it sounds. Kiss definitely offers a lot more variety of music than people give them credit for. And then my personal true confession. I've often thought that Paul sounds really weird vocally on the song Hotter Than Hell on this version. To the point that when I was younger, I used to wonder if it was even really him singing. As I've gotten older and with more trained ears, I'm sure it is Paul singing, but something was definitely off or something that day. Maybe he was sick or they had tracked a bunch of vocals and his voice was tired or something. Either way, it makes his lead vocal on this version of the song Hotter Than Hell sound bored to me.
Yeah, I can see what you're talking about, because I know in those early days too, it seemed like he sang with a bit of a deeper voice at times. More notably, if you listen to the live clip of that song "Life in the Woods," and just the way he talks and works, talks to the crowd and sings during that, it's like a different Paul to me. So I definitely see what you're getting at. Chris, you want to go next?
Yes. My true confession is I felt like, even though I loved the song Strange Ways, I felt like it needed an additional chord progression in the verse, and it needed a bridge, because I felt like it gets too clunky and too repetitive. I felt like if they could got another chord progression in the verse and put in a bridge somewhere, they would have made the song even better.
Definitely.
Well, let's see. Mine's a bit of a two-parter. First is I wish they would have uncensored the pictures on the back of the cover. That's just one of them things as a young kid that I used to sit and stare at and just like, what's it look like underneath that? But the other one is, I just... Okay, let me get this straight here. I felt like as much as I hate the studio version of Coming Home, I just felt like it would have done itself a little justice had they included almost like what they did in later albums where there was like female background singers. I felt like they should have included like kind of an extra section that kind of has like that sort of, I know we just played True Confessions, but that's kind of what comes to my mind, like that sort of kind of thing. Like it almost needs that to it, and that would have made it a good song. That's my opinion.
It definitely needed something. All right. Type here.
So we still want to hear everyone's true confessions. Don't hesitate to type them in the comments and send them to us on Facebook too.
Absolutely. And anybody else that wants to submit votes too, we have no problem adding those in after a show's done and changing our top places if we need to. So
Absolutely.
please feel free. All right, so ready for some rankings?
Yeah, let's go.
Awesome. All right, so in addition to the three of us, as we mentioned earlier, we've got Savannah's votes, Steve and Rochelle McGowan's, my younger brother Sam, my dad. We're also including votes from myself and Eli from last time, my dad from last time, Steve McGowan from last time. We've also got Jay Rucker, his dad, Aaron Philpott, Chuck Hoskins, Robbie Stars, Rain in Adamstown, and Jacob Hicks and Gianni Ottaviani. So thank you all, guys, even for submitting votes last time. Again, if you want to submit votes again, we'll include them twice. No problem at all. Hopefully they're different than the last time. It'd be interesting to see what has changed. Okay, so in 10th place this time around, Mainline. Yep, by a decent margin even. A decent margin above what's in 9th place, which is Coming Home. A lot of the rest of these are pretty tight-knit, but Mainline's actually, it's got quite a bit more points than the others. Very interesting. In 8th place, All the Way. In 7th place, Got to Choose. In 6th place, Going Blind. 5th place, Let Me Go, Rock and Roll. And our top 4 for Hotter Than Hell this week, we've got in 4th place, Strange Ways. In 3rd place, Hotter Than Hell. In 2nd place, Parasite.
Oh.
And in 1st place, Watching You.
I thought it was going to be a flip there.
Yes.
Good
So,
list.
yes, absolutely.
Oh,
I think that's fair. Most KISS fans would probably go for that, that ranking.
I wish Mainline would have done a little better, but the top 4 is definitely solid.
Oh, yeah. I was just kind of taking a peek at our old votes. And it is kind of funny looking at that. I had Strange Ways in last place last time, and Coming Home in 6th place. Yeah. We both had All the Way pretty low to the bottom last time. I need to put these next to each other to look. I'm just kind of trying to scroll back and forth. Yeah, you had Got to Choose in the middle both times. Both of us had Going Blind in the middle last time. We actually both rated Going Blind lower this time than last time.
Wow.
Very strange. And I of course, dropped Hotter Than Hell very far down. It was my number 4 last time and my number 8 this time.
Jeez.
So, yeah, crazy the changes. Of course, we said it then. It's worth saying that we could do Hotter Than Hell again next week and our rankings would change.
Yeah. That's the funny thing about this show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. 7.4 overall average.
Oh.
Sorry, I completely blanked that.
So kind of considerably lower than the first album right off the bat, isn't it?
Yeah, the first album came out at 8.8.
Yeah.
This one at 7.4.
Wow. And I bet it all just comes down to that damn sound of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, God, I wish there was a way they were able to remix it and everything, but yeah. I guess there isn't, because you think they would have done it by now if they could have.
Right.
I heard a rumor that the master tapes were lost. That's why they couldn't go back and redo it.
Oh, dang it. And it's too bad that the Sonic Boom Disc 2, the KISS Classics, is just... They just didn't do it the way they could have, and it's so ruined by auto-tune and everything, because that would have been the perfect opportunity to go back and do some of these songs justice, you know?
Yeah.
There's a cover of Strange Ways that I think is the best cover I've ever heard. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it's a band from Norway, and they're called Hypocrisy, and they covered Strange Ways, and it sounds so clear and so good. I'm like, oh my God, that's like what the song could have been. The only critique about the song is the solo's nowhere near as good as Ace's, but everything else is like so freaking good. So if you could listen to Hypocrisy Do Strange Ways, it's super, super good song.
And speaking of that, everyone go on YouTube and look up Vulgar Sandwich doing Hotter Than Hell. It is the greatest cover of a Kiss song I have ever heard.
Let me write that down.
Ever.
Vulgar Sandwich?
Yeah.
Okay.
Greatest version of a Kiss cover I have ever heard.
I'm going to check that out.
That is hilarious.
So like quick news that just popped up like pretty much yesterday. Ace Frehley's Origins Volume 2. We finally have a release date for it, as well as the cover art and quite a few vinyl editions coming out, different colors, and the track listing more importantly. And then we also got the awesome animated video for his cover of Space Truckin', which I personally loved it. How about you guys? I was hooked right away when I started hearing him, changing up the words a little bit to suit him, and especially when he said "Hi, Curly," I cracked up. And man, I'm really excited for the album. The artwork is amazing. All the different colored vinyls are very, very catchy to the eye. I think I'm going to go for the blue and white one. That's because I'm a big fan of the color blue, but there's some cool ones out there. But another thing I'm interested to hear is Ace is going to do a cover of She on this record, so I'm very excited to hear how that's going to sound. If you guys remember, he did Rock and Roll Hell and also Parasite on the last Origins album. I thought those were pretty good as well. John 5's going to return on a couple songs. Ace is doing a song with Bruce Kulick. That's going to be cool to hear as well. But no Gene. That was kind of one of the things we heard about when we first heard about Origins Volume 2 was that Gene was supposed to be on a song or two with him this time, but apparently that fell through based on that last little falling out they must have had. Kind of sucks to see that isn't happening, but who knows? Maybe somewhere down the road we can get those tracks released somewhere.
I think it was on the Kiss Room today that somebody posted a statement that Ace Frehley's ex-wife or girlfriend or whoever she was is just released a statement saying she's suing Gene Simmons for rape.
What?
Yeah, I saw that today on the Kiss Room. Said he raped her twice.
Oh.
She said he loaned her money, and in exchange, I guess, he wanted something else. So that's what was posted today. I was reading that quote today.
Man, that woman is crazy.
Yeah, that's insane. Well,
then there was another thing that popped up. It had been on Facebook with some of these Kiss groups where one of Ace's other ex-wives or something is they set up a website where she's selling off a bunch of his personal items. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people think that it's basically going to be considered stolen, to stay away from it. But I mean, there's personal I guess he had the actual reel-to-reel of the original Kiss demos, like that's being sold.
Wow.
A bunch of home cassettes of demos that he did, VHS tapes, clothing, all kinds of stuff like that. I forget the link of the page right this second, but a lot of people were saying that it's probably going to end up being claimed as stolen, and stay away from it. But it's just it's crazy.
Insane.
So yeah, that was kind of the latest news here in the Kiss camp. Let's see. Other than the Kiss Cruise is officially sold out for next year, there goes another one.
Right.
And as we sit here today, July 31st, the show that is listed for us here in Dayton in September is still listed as a go. So still not sure if that's going to really happen or not, but kind of waiting and until we hear differently. I'm still hesitant on getting tickets anytime soon because I kind of got a feeling it is going to get postponed, but just waiting for that to be announced officially. And
Right.
So who knows? May or may not get to see him this year still.
I know Ace's show in Houston just got moved from September to May of next year.
Excuse me.
Wow.
No, that sucks, yeah. Because I had heard that he had originally intended on going out around September or something, but I guess, yeah, he must not have had much of a choice to postpone those two, because I think he was supposed to be at the Indianapolis Fair, which is about an hour and a half from us, so not too bad of a drive. So I was definitely wanting to check that out. So that's going to wrap it up then. Again, get those votes in for Hotter Than Hell, and of course, Dress to Kill being next week's album. Let us know your true confessions. And again, the door is open. If anyone wants to come on and join us for any of these albums, please contact us. We'll be glad to set it up. Chris, you're more than welcome to come back. We appreciate you being on here, and you're definitely welcome to come back anytime.
Thank you so much, and I want to extend the invitation for you guys to come on to the Kiss and Tell podcast, and want to say thank you for sharing your platform. And you guys are awesome, and I really enjoy your show.
Thank you, man. Yeah, we would definitely love to come on your show, man. It's been a while since we've done that format of just kind of chatting, regular, just random Kiss topics. So it'll be fun to do that again. And
Absolutely.
So just give us the word, man, and we'll be there.
Yes, sir.
So, all right then, everyone else, thanks for tuning in and participating. And again, next week, we'll see you for Dress to Kill. Until then, everyone take care, stay safe, all that good stuff, and drink up before 10 p.m. because they're changing the laws here in Ohio. All right, everybody. See you next week.
Bye, guys. Bye.